Well, hello there and welcome. My name is David Breslow, and I'm so happy to have you here attending this webinar called Inspired Action, Kicking Procrastination to the Curb Once and for All. Procrastination, one of the ugliest things that any human being can get stuck under, is that the heaviness of procrastination. And I'm sure you know what it is. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be listening to the sound of my voice right now. So let's move along, shall we? Who is this for? Who is this webinar for? Well, it's for people who are frustrated. People who are frustrated because they've tried different things. They have things they want. They have desires. They have dreams. They have goals. But for whatever reason, they're not coming to fruition. They're frustrated. Things don't really work for them. Things work sporadically for them. And so they continue to be frustrated. If that's you, you're in the right place. It's for people who want to reach a new level, but somehow they don't quite get there. What does that mean? Reach a new level of what? A new level of income, a new level in relationships, a new level of health, a new level in personal development, a new level of confidence, clarity, their ability to be emotionally strong. Could be any number of things. This webinar is for you if you're interested in reaching a new place in your life as well. Also, if you want your financial situation to improve, but you're going to see the word but a lot when it comes to procrastination. Maybe you want your financial situation to improve, but you've tried many different things in the past, or you don't think it's going to work, or you don't know where the money's going to come from. You just find any number of reasons to procrastinate on this, but you still want it. You want your financial situation to improve, of course. Or you just want generally your life to improve. But you've tried things before, things don't really seem to change. You've gone to workshops, you buy books, you get self help tapes, you get CDs, you attend free classes like this. Who knows? You may do a number of different things. That's who this is for. The person who is interested in seeking something greater than what they have now. So here's what you'll discover in this webinar. Number one, why inspiration is actually easier to use than motivation, because motivation comes from the outside in. Inspiration is just the opposite. It comes from the inside out, which is why it has more of an impact on you. Most of us have been caught searching for motivational things most of our lives. What's going to motivate me to do this? But when you're inspired from the inside, that's a fire that's hard to stop. And all the people around you that you see being successful in any area of their life, it's mostly because they're inspired to do so from the inside. And that's what you're going to discover through this process here. You're also going to see the true cost of procrastination. It's not cheap. It's hurting us pretty bad. It weakens our very fiber. Okay? Procrastination doesn't feel good, and it literally weakens us. You're also going to discover the 3 excuses most procrastinators use the most often. I think I'm going to throw 4 at you, actually. You're going to discover those most common excuses procrastinators often say to the world, and certainly to themselves. You're also going to see 2 cool strategies to kick procrastination to the curb. Because I want you to walk away from here with a couple of things that you can literally apply today, right now in your life, to start feeling better. So, as mentioned in the promotional material for this, there's nothing for sale here. Nothing. Put your credit cards away, put them in your wallet, put them in your purse, put them in your pocket, leave them wherever they are. I'm not going to ask you to buy anything at the end. I'm not going to give you a discount offer for anything at the end, like most do. But if you stay to the end, I am going to offer you something for free that you may very well want to take advantage of. Okay? So, does any of this sound like you? You start things and then you find a way to sabotage yourself. Sounded like me, that's for sure. You just have a knack for, you have ideas, you get excited for a little while, you start things, and then after a day or two or a week, whatever it may be, the fire seems to burn out and you end up slipping back and sabotaging yourself, finding excuses, finding reasons to just not move forward, and all those things that you say you really want. Does that sound like you? It certainly sounded like me. Or does this sound like you? You put things off that you know you need to do every day, every week, every month. You just put them off. That's what a procrastinator does. Procrastinators are really good at sticking their head in the sand and thinking, I know I should do that, but, there's that word again, but I'll just get distracted and I'll go do this, and I'll go to Facebook, or I'll go play a video game, or I'll go call my friends and we'll go out, have a drink, go bowling, watch a movie. Isn't it amazing how easy it is to put things off that we know we need to do? Does that sound like you? That sure sounded like me. What about this? Do you avoid the people or the things that you don't really want to deal with? I know I should make that call, but I just don't want to deal with him or her right now. I know I should confront him or her and have this conversation, but I don't know. It's just too uncomfortable. I don't want to do that now. I know I should start writing that book I said I was going to write 5 years ago, but I'll do it later. Sound familiar? Sure does to me. Does that sound like you? What about this? Do you avoid yourself? Think about that. It's one of the things we don't consider very often. It's much easier to consider all those things outside of you. The book, the phone call, the job, the money. But do you avoid yourself? Probably the most important thing you could ever look at is you. Do you avoid that too? I know I sure did. For the longest time. For the longest time. And what about this? Does this sound like you? Do you judge yourself? Do you talk yourself down? Do you start making comments to yourself like, I'm no good? I can't do this. I was never good at this anyway. Do you make excuses and rationalize? Does that sound like you? Sounds familiar to me. Every one of these things, starting something and sabotaging, putting things off, avoiding people, avoiding me, judging me, every one of those things resonates with me. I did it. I still do it to some degree. Nowhere near like I did it before. And you don't have to do it anymore the same either. What about this? Finally, doing all of these things, does that cause you to lose confidence? Sure did for me. Why wouldn't it? Take a look at what's on this page. Starting and then stopping, putting things off, avoiding, judging. Why wouldn't a person feel less confident if they're doing those things? Think about that. Of course, confidence is one of the first things to go. Why wouldn't it be? Okay? Here's why you need this now. Your life is waiting for you. Consider this. You may have been procrastinating for years now. I don't know you yet. I don't know your age. I don't know how long you've been doing this. I know I did it for a lot of years. Your life is waiting. And you're like everybody else. You're not getting out of this alive. You're leaving here someday, like we all are. Do you really want to have this kind of unfulfilled life up until that moment, whenever that is? Your very life is waiting for you. That's why you need this now. Your life is waiting for you. Your family, if you have one, is waiting for you. Your spouse, your children, if you have them. Don't they deserve the very best of you? I'm not saying you don't give your best. I'm not saying you don't give your all. I'm not saying you don't work hard. But now it's time to do the right things for you. Aren't you your best? Aren't you your best for them when you're your best self? when you're not tired, frustrated, angry, bitter, pulled in 20 different directions. You know that's true. Your life is waiting for you. Your family is waiting for you. Your very soul is waiting for you. I say soul or spirit. I don't mean spirituality unless you want it to mean that. What I'm talking about is the core essence of every human being. You know that phrase, when a person's spirit is broken, that person is broken? Well, that's true. It doesn't get any deeper inside of you than that. Your very spirit is waiting for you. It has all these great things for you and me and everybody you know. But we cover it over with all of these things, one of them being procrastination, which causes all of this negativity and this lack of confidence. And you know how the story plays out. Doesn't feel good, does it? That's why you need this now. Okay? So who is this guy? Who am I? Dave Breslow is my name. 23 years I've been a peak performance coach. I've been helping people over the years, business people, people in the corporate world and the private sector, and pro and amateur athletes. I've been helping them get what they want for 23 years. Most of them, the majority, have been procrastinators in some fashion. Some of them are very active, very much go-getters, especially the pro athletes. You wouldn't consider them to be procrastinators, but they sabotage themselves anyway. What's the difference? They still sabotage themselves, just like you are. Procrastination just happens to be your drug of choice, if you will. That's just one of the ways you sabotage yourself. Kick procrastination to the curb, and a lot of other things start to go away. So 23 years, I've had this really unique dialogue with these people, coaching them to move from point A to point B. I've also been a major procrastinator myself, so I know what I'm talking about. As much or more than anybody I know. I had all the excuses. I had my head buried in the sand as much as anybody I know. So let's take a look at these 3 common excuses right off the bat. Number 1, in no particular order, I'm busy. Isn't that what a procrastinator often says? You know what? I'm just too busy. I know I should make that call. I know I should start the book. I know I should check out these entrepreneurial things that I want to do. I know I should take a look at the university catalog because I want to go back to school. I know I should take that relationship course or whatever it is you want. But I'm too busy. Isn't that a great excuse? You're too busy to do what you know is right for you. Second excuse, I said I'll do it later. I know this one really well. What about you? I said I'll do it later. Does later ever come? Sometimes. Most of the time? No, it doesn't. Pretty common procrastinator comment. I'll do it later. I can't. I don't know how. Another great excuse, isn't it? Geez, I know I should make that call and have this discussion with this person, but I can't. I know I should start that new business, but I don't know how. I know I should write the book, but I don't know how. I know I should start looking into, having more money flow into my life, but I don't know. I don't know how to do that. You see how easy it is? How just too darn easy it is to throw out these words. They roll right off my tongue very easily. Not so much anymore, but they're rolling right off my tongue now because I've said them before. And I'm guessing you have too. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Here's the bonus excuse. I'd like to, but... Sound familiar? Sure does to me. Every one of these does to me. Yeah, I'd like to write that book, but... Yeah, I'd like to, go to school, but... I'd like to make more money, but... I'd like to have a better relationship than I do now, but... There's that word but again. It's a biggie. It's a biggie. So let's take a look right away at a butt-kicking tool. I call this talking straight, a talking shift. This tool is a talking shift. Here's how it works. Take out your pen and your paper. You remember I mentioned to you that this is an engaging webinar, and I want you to be involved. So here's how you're going to be involved. Write down on your piece of paper, how do you talk to yourself? When you procrastinate and when things aren't going well for you, how do you talk to yourself? Take 20 seconds and write it down. Okay, good. I also should have told you you can stop the video and take 20 seconds and 30 seconds and write it down too. We'll do that from now on. So that's the first question. How do you talk to yourself? What do you have there? Take a look. Second question. What feelings does that generate in you? When you talk to yourself that way, for example, let's say you say, I'm no good. You do something, it doesn't work out, you say, I'm no good. You make a gesture or an action and it doesn't work out, you say, I'm no good. What does it feel like to say that? What kind of feelings does I'm no good cause you to have? Pause the tape, the video, and take a few seconds and write down your answer to that. Okay, welcome back. Here's the tool. I'm going to ask you to trade 4 letters for 1. I'm actually going to ask you to trade 1 letter for 4. That's backwards. I'm going to ask you to trade 1 letter for 4. Here's what I mean. Let's take a look at some of the common phrases. Maybe you had these too. I'm no good. Sound familiar? I can't do, fill in the blank. I don't deserve, fill in the blank. Any of these sound familiar? So here's the tool. I is too personal. Every time you use the word I, look at these examples. I'm no good. I can't do this. I don't deserve this. I. Okay? I is personal. Think about it. Whenever you use the word I in front of a phrase like that, you're sending that message so deep into your system, so deep into your mind, so deep into your emotions, so deep into your nervous system. That's why it's so difficult to get away from. It goes in so far that it becomes very challenging to try to shift your mood. I'm no good. And then what happens? Your body gets down, your emotions are negative, your mind is now on this negative trail. You come up with other reasons why you're no good. Nothing positive comes out of that. I is too personal. So here's the tool. I'm going to ask you to switch the I to the 4-letter word that. So I'm no good. Try it right now. I'm no good becomes that was no good. Very interesting. So say it to yourself right now. Say, I'm no good. And really mean it. Because when you say it, you mean it, don't you? Say it like you mean it. What does that feel like? Okay. Now say, that was no good. What does that feel like? Do you notice the difference? Here's why it works. When you say that was no good, now it's not personal anymore, is it? Because that is over there somewhere, isn't it? So if you make a mistake If you do something and it doesn't work out, instead of saying, I'm no good, you just say, that was no good. That was a poor decision. That was a mistake. Not, I'm no good. I'm a mistake. I don't deserve. Can you feel the difference? I'll bet you can. Everybody I've had this conversation with says to me, geez, Dave, when I say I can feel the weight of that. When I say that, I feel completely different. I feel lighter. I feel more at ease. Of course, because it's not personal anymore. Get it? That was no good. That was a bad choice. That was the wrong decision. That didn't work out. Now, if you're going to say, I don't deserve this, all you need to do with that is turn it into, I didn't deserve this before, but I do now. Because you're doing the same kind of thing. I didn't deserve it before, but I do now. You're doing the same kind of thing. You're moving, you're shifting your emotional state from something that doesn't feel good to something that does. I didn't deserve this before, but I do now. That feels pretty good. Here's the bottom line. You're just fine right now. And as long as you're just fine right now, and you're not attacking yourself anymore, and you're not taking things personally, you can now move. You've just broken that line that holds you back. And now you can move somewhere. You can pick up the phone. You can take out that piece of paper and start writing your first chapter. You can have that conversation. You can check out the schools. There's so many things you can start to do as soon as you cut that tie. And this tool helps you do that. It's pretty cool. Now, I have called this webinar Advanced Training. And here's why. You just had the experience of it, actually. But here I'm going to explain it for a moment. It is the greatest way to learn, in my opinion. I don't know if you recognize these images or if you saw the movie. If you didn't, it's called The Karate Kid. There were two versions of it, one back in the 80s, I think it was, and one in the 90s that was updated. And same kind of story, actually, with different characters. But here's why I love this movie. If you look at the picture on the left with Daniel in the headband and Mr. Miyagi painting the fence, here's the story. Daniel wanted to learn karate, and Mr. Miyagi told him that he would teach him. So what does he do? He has Daniel come over to his home every morning at 6 a.m. and he gives him instructions. Here's what I want you to do. Take this brush and paint the fence. And he shows him the stroke he wants him to use to paint the fence. And the next day he comes back and he says, okay, now I want you to wax my car. That's what they're doing on the picture on the right. Wax my car. And he shows him how he wants to move the buffers to wax the car. Then he comes back another day and says, sand the floor. He has him on his hands and knees. I don't have the picture up there, but he has Daniel on his hands and knees sanding the floor. And this guy's got a lot of wood in his home. And at some point, after a few days, Daniel's getting frustrated. He finally gets so frustrated. Miyagi comes home. It's 6 or 7 at night. And Daniel confronts him and he says, hey, I asked you to teach me karate and all you're doing is having me be a houseboy and take care of your house. He goes, I'm out of here. And he turns and walks away. And Miyagi from behind him goes, Daniel-san. And Daniel turns around and he goes, what? And he walks back over to him. Show me paint the fence, Miyagi says. And then Daniel starts to show him in this kind of weak movement. And Miyagi straightens his hand and puts it where he wants it to be. And he shows him paint the fence, shows him wax the car, show me sand the floor. And within seconds, Miyagi's throwing a flurry of kicks and punches at Daniel pretty fast. And Daniel just sitting there blocking them for a good 20, 30 seconds this is going on. And then Miyagi stops. He looks at Daniel and he says, come back tomorrow at 6 a.m. And he bows and he walks away. And the camera moves in on Daniel and his jaw has dropped to the ground. He just can't believe what happened. It's one of the most brilliant ways to teach somebody, in my opinion. That's what I do. That's what you just did. I call it the head fake. What's really happening is it looks like it's going in one direction and it's actually going in another. It's a way to show people how to do something without directly showing them how to do it. Isn't that brilliant? That's exactly what Miyagi did. He showed him how to block punches and kicks without ever saying to him, I'm going to show you how to block punches and kicks. Do this and do this and do this. Instead, he has him paint the fence, wax the car, sand the floor, doing all of the same motions physically that he would want him to do to block kicks and punches. Daniel was just blown away. I just did the same thing with you. I had you just do this little switch. I had you switch one letter to 4. And in doing so, you immediately start to feel better, less stressed, more open. You have more energy. Your mind is more clear. You can make better decisions. Look at the 4 or 5 things that were just better without me telling you directly to do that. Did I tell you to think better or to feel better or to be less stressed? No. I just gave you the advanced training. I gave you the head fake. Just by that one little tool, you can start to have these better experiences. That's what I'm calling advanced training. That's what I'm calling the head fake. That's what Miyagi did with Daniel and the Karate Kid. I thought it was just absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So let's take a look at 5 ways that you can start to kick procrastination to the curb. This is a little more strategic. Okay, number 1, important to get clear. What do you want? People think they know what they want, but they're really not very clear about it. If you know things about the mind-body relationship, you know that the more clear you are, the better you get what you want. It's simple. Imagine like a cell phone. We live in an age where people are on their phones a lot. How often do you have a bad cell phone connection depending on where you are, right? Or how close or far are you from the tower? It's amazing. But if the reception is not clear, the message is very poor, isn't it? Same thing happens in your body. You have a messaging system. You have a communication system. When your messages are clear, your messages go into your system, and the outcome of that is better. When you are unclear, which many procrastinators are, when you are unclear, you have a very unclear experience. The mind is cloudy, cluttered, your body is tense, and your emotional states are all over the place. The body has the same communication process as the cell phone. The clearer you are, the better your outcomes are. It's just that simple. Way number 2, focus on what's controllable. Procrastinators tend to do what? They focus on the outcomes and the results. They're not controllable. Oh, yeah, I know I should have that conversation, but it's going to be difficult, and I don't know. The person might give me a hard time and push back at me, and I don't know. It's just too outcome, outcome, outcome. Oh, I know I should sit down and start writing that book, but I don't know. I don't know what to write about, and I don't know how long it's going to take. Outcome, outcome, outcome. Focus on what's controllable. Focus on what's controllable. And what's controllable is the process. There's either a process or there's an outcome. I have this conversation with everybody that I work with, athlete or non-athlete. You're either focusing on the outcome, causing all of this negativity and procrastination, or you're focused on the process. The process is the doable steps. The process is what I can do, because that's what's controllable. What can I actually do right now? What do I have control over? What am I paying attention to? It's a must in order for you to kick procrastination to the curb. Another thing you want to do is celebrate your successes. Too many of us let these moments blow by. We give them no meaning, which is why it's easy to procrastinate, because we don't remember how good it felt to feel good. Celebrate your successes. Look for them, because once you find them, you're giving yourself traction to move forward and be more consistent, putting an end to procrastination and putting a beginning and some traction into taking action and doing things. Very important. Number 5, hugely important also, be honest. Be honest with yourself. In my program, when I'm working with somebody, I am often teaching what I call 7 laws of human performance. And before these 7 laws, there's this one pre-law, I call it, and it says, the more honest you are, the quicker you get what you want. Now, what does that mean? That means what you're willing to see, you can change. What you're not willing to see, you don't have a shot. It's not my opinion. It's not my theory. It's a law. It's the same for everybody. That includes you. Be honest. Are you clear? Do you focus on what's controllable? Do you focus on the process, what you can do? Do you actually celebrate your successes? Are you even aware of them? Be honest. Be honest with yourself. Are you coachable or are you stubborn? Stubborn people take a long time to get what they want because they're shutting too many things out. Be honest. Be honest. Here are some obstacles to you being successful with this now. One major obstacle is the procrastinator believes that the past is now. Guess what? It's not. All they can remember is times when they failed, when their attitude was bad, when they started something and then sabotaged themselves, when they thought of doing something and then just stopped, and they think that's real. It's not. The past isn't now. You know, it's funny when folks call me for coaching, they will often try to prove to me why they are where they're at. Dave, I did this 10 years ago, and then this happened, and then that happened. And then 2 months ago, I was doing this, and I was doing that. And they just explained their past to me, all the things that wasn't working. And my response to that is, hey, that's great. Thank you for telling me that. I believe you. I'm not arguing with you. I think those things happened. Why would I argue with that? They're facts. But all you've done is proven to me that the past was real. That's all you've done. You haven't said one thing about what's possible in the next 10 seconds. And then they kind of go, yeah, I didn't realize I was doing that. Of course you didn't. But you're so used to procrastinating and not getting what you want, you just think all that stuff is going to be the proof, when it's not the proof of anything. All you're proving is that the other stuff happened in the past. Big deal. Anybody can do that. What have you resolved? Nothing. How have you moved forward? In no way. So this is one of your obstacles, that you believe the past is actually now, but it's not. Fear, a major cog as an obstacle to success for a procrastinator. Yeah, I know I should do this, but I'm a little worried. I don't know if I should leave my job and start my own business. Well, nobody asked you to do all that at one time. But fear is a huge issue. I have a very interesting way of looking at fear that we're not going to go into in this webinar, but it's not an acronym or a fancy phrase or anything like that. I'm not into that stuff. That's just fluffy, hype BS stuff to me. It's an actual process that on a snap of a finger, you can turn fear into a new possibility just like that, for real, and have that experience. Unrealistic expectations. Procrastinators are really great at trying to be perfect, aren't we? Yeah, well, if I can't do it just right, I probably shouldn't do it. Really? Where did that come from? Unrealistic expectations, mostly of perfection. Also, inflexibility. Procrastinators who are inflexible are stuck in their beliefs, are inflexible mentally, physically, and emotionally. They're tense in their bodies. Emotionally, they're very rigid. They feel the same way all the time, usually not that good, but they're just stuck right where they are. Very inflexible, not open to new ideas, to a new way of seeing things, to see that what they're doing is not working. That's one of the first things that needs to happen, is you need to be able to admit that what you're doing is not getting you what you want. If you can't admit that very simple thing, you're pretty well going to be stuck where you are for a little while until you're ready to do that. So let's start something today, shall we? Here's where I'm asking you to be engaged again, and take out your paper and your pen and list 3 things that you know you should do. You can pause the video, take about 30 seconds, and list 3 things you know you should do today. I don't know what time you're listening to this, but if it's late, then tomorrow. List 3 things you know deep in your heart you should do today or tomorrow. You can hit the pause button and come back. Okay, welcome back. Now I'd like you to answer this question. Why? Why should you do these things? What for? Why are you doing them? Because of somebody else or for yourself? Be honest. Pause the video and write down for each of the 3. Why? Why do you want to do them? Okay, welcome back. Now, last question. Very simple. Can you do it? Are you capable of doing it? Do you have the ability to do it? Are you physically able to do it? Yes or no? Simple question. So now I want you to pick one of those 3 things and do that today. Or again, if it's late, do it tomorrow. Pick one of those things and do it. Watch what happens. Okay. Now I want to throw at you a second tool. This is a butt kicker feeling tool. You know the word butt that has shown up so much? Let's kick the butt out of procrastination. A butt kicker feeling tool. I call it the someday list. So here I'm going to ask you again. Engage. Pick 1 to 3 things you want to be, do, or have someday. What do you want to be? Want to be happier? Want to be more spiritual? Want to be more joyous? Want to be more loving? Want to be more clear, confident? What do you want to do? Get a new job? Start a new business? Write a book? What do you want to have? A new home? New car? Better relationship? Different relationship? Improve the one you have? What is it? What do you want to be, do, or have someday? Pause the video and take a few seconds and write down 1 to 3 of those things. Good. Welcome back. Now, same thing. Why? Why do you want those? Why do you want those things to happen? Going to feel better? Going to be happier? Going to be more stable? Going to be more confident? What? Get clear. Why do you want that to happen? Pause the video. Take a few seconds. Write down how it makes you feel. Okay, very good. Now you have a few lines of why you want it. It makes me feel this, it makes me feel that. Makes me feel good, makes me feel happy, makes me feel confident, makes me feel desirable. Whatever it may be, it's fine. There's no wrong answer here. Now I'd like you to start a second list. This is called your yeah, but list. So for each of the 3 items you just wrote down, list 3 yeah, buts. And what I really mean there is, yeah, but start the sentence with, yeah, but. So for example, if you said, I want to write a book, you would start your yeah, but, and then fill in the blank. Yeah, but I never wrote before. Yeah, but I'm not a writer. Yeah, but who's interested in what I have to write? Just keep writing them. Stream of consciousness. Don't edit. Don't judge. Just start writing your yeah buts. Yeah, but I'm no good. You can just go. Just go. Pause the video and then come back. So welcome back. Here are just a couple of common yeah buts. I'm too old. It's too late. Pretty common. Yeah, but I'm too old. It's too late. Now, here's an example of my own personal list years ago when I first started doing this. Write a book. I wanted to write a book. I wanted to perform on a stage somewhere. I wanted to go to the Kennedy Space Center. Okay. Those were the top 3 things on my someday list. I actually had 10. But right now, we're just giving an example here. These are the top 3. Write a book, perform on a stage, go to the Kennedy Space Center at the time. I thought it would have been really cool to go into that gravity chamber and see what it was like in a space module and all that. I still think it's cool. I haven't done that one yet. So here are my yeah buts. And I had a list that was a page long. Here are just examples. Yeah, but I'm too old. And this is related to, I'm sorry, they perform on stage. These are my yeah buts to being on stage. I'm too old. I'm not good looking enough. I have no experience. Yeah, but I never auditioned before. I don't know what to do. Yeah, but I never took an acting class. Oh, yeah. Unbelievable. Like I said, I had almost a page long of my yeah buts. In this part of the exercise, you're getting out the garbage. So just be honest here. Let it flow. Yeah, but. Let it flow. Now, let's take a look at the truth. Here's the absurdity of this exercise. When you look at your yeah, but list, you're going to find they're absurd. Most of them are lies, and they're all baloney. It's very freeing to know that. This is one of those advanced learning modules, one of those head fakes that gets you away from procrastination. Because as you look at your yeah, but list, you see how just flat out ridiculous these things are. Now, this was probably 12, maybe more years ago. Since then, I have become an actor. I've become an acting teacher. I've appeared in over 35 stage productions. I've appeared in national television, on national television, and film. I made my own film. I wrote my own scripts. I acted and performed in my own movie. None of this happened before I did this exercise. None of it. But when I did the exercise, I realized how ridiculous these things were. And within 2 weeks, I went to an audition cold. I had no clue what to do. And I got cast. I don't know how that happened, but that's the story. I went to an audition. I learned by going what to do. But in that particular one, I happened to get cast in this big musical called Oliver. I had a small role, but I got cast. That was the beginning of it for me. And I loved it. Loved it. I knew I would. Never did it before. I knew I would love it. That's the beauty of breaking procrastination, by the way. You start doing these things, and then you end up feeling like, oh gosh, why did I wait so long? I love doing this. And then you just do more and more and more of it. It's exactly what happens. So imagine yourself right now as a recovering procrastinator. What would your life be like? Where are you? Are you on a beach? Are you in the mountains? Are you in the plains? Are you in the big city? Up on the top floor? Where are you? Everybody wants something different. It's all good. What are you doing? Are you working? Are you skiing? Are you traveling? Are you happy? Who are you with? Are you with your spouse, your family? Are you enjoying the world, enjoying your friends? What are you doing? Who are you with? What are you doing? Where are you? How much are they paying you? Is money rolling in because you love what you're doing? Imagine what your life is like without procrastination. Who would you be without that story? I'll bet it's a pretty darn nice picture, and I'll bet it's an even better feeling, isn't it? So what are you going to do now? Okay. Procrastinators, as we know, are famous for doing nothing, right? And then they laugh because you've been doing it so long, you make a joke out of it. But I'm here to tell you this. It's not a joke. Is it really a joke? Your life is at stake. Your family's at stake. Your soul. It's waiting for you. Doing nothing is not a joke. Not really. So are you stuck? Are there things you want? Are there things you start and then you sabotage? Here's why I'm glad you stayed. I told you before, you don't need your credit card. Keep it in your wallet and in your pocket. What I'm offering you is a free strategy session. Now, this is an actual strategy session. We're going to take maybe a half an hour, a little more. I'm going to learn about you. I'm going to find out what your story is. I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to find out what your current situation is. And I'm going to offer you a strategy or two to help you move along. It's not a sales call. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. If you're interested in that, please check the link on below this webinar on this very same page. You see it here on the screen, but the link is on the page below the video. Click that link and it's going to take you to a questionnaire and answer the questions on there. Hit the submit button. It's going to come directly to my office. My staff is going to take a look at it and we will decide on who we're going to have the free session with and who we're not. But we will contact you and let you know how to schedule that free session. And depending on where you are, if you're in the United States, we can use phone, or if you're outside the USA, we can Skype. Even if you're inside the USA, we can Skype. I love using Skype. I use it all the time. I'm a big fan. So click the link under the video if you enjoyed what you heard here today. But I'm suggesting that you try these two tools because now you know procrastination is no joke. It doesn't have to continue along the way it is. That inspiration comes from the inside. And once you're making inspired actions, you do things very differently. And now you know. You can talk to yourself quite differently. You can say you can say that instead of I. And you now know that you can create your someday list. Get rid of the garbage, get it out there and take a look at what it really is. And then you can start doing things differently. You can start putting an end to procrastination starting right now. And if you want to have that free strategy session, you're more than welcome to do that. So click the link below the video. My pleasure to be here with you today. I hope you enjoyed this webinar. It certainly was fun for me to talk with you. So David Breslow here. Great to be with you here on this webinar. And I look forward to speaking with you very soon. Take care.